Tonight, I am with the Boilermakers local union here, who tonight have voted to strike, potentially strike. And we'll hear more from the leadership of the Boilermakers local here in Bellville, Illinois. Tonight, this week is a historic night for the labor movement. Congress, the House of Representatives, has just passed the PRO Act, the most pro-union legislation since the Great Depression, since FDR, since the New Deal. That is an exciting time right now to be in the fight for worker justice. It's an important time for America's working families. If we can get the Senate to do the right thing and pass the PRO Act, we will be entering a new era of American worker justice, where workers can have the right to organize a union without being threatened, without being intimidated, without trying to have to deal with the boss lying to them every day as they form a union. So that is what is at stake this week in the upcoming months in our country. We can have a country where working people have a real strong voice on the job, or we can continue the status quo where Americans struggle in poverty and with inequality and working in places that are harsh, unfair, and pay too little. We saw just last week the fight for 15 on the Senate floor did not get passed last week. That fight is so important, and you'll hear tonight why that's so important here in Bellville, Illinois. We're going to hear from some powerful workers and their stories about what's at stake when workers come together and organize, not just form a union, but to make sure they have a strong union contract that protects workers and lifts families out of poverty. So good evening, America. Thank you for joining us. Last night, the Congress, the House of Representatives voted to pass the PRO Act. We had people in Washington, D.C. saying, let's do it. We had a team in California last night say, let's do it. We had folks in Oregon putting pressure. Almost every Democrat voted for it. A couple Republicans voted for it. Now that legislation, the PRO Act, goes to the House. But tonight, we want to take the story local. What are workers fighting for across the United States? What are workers fighting for, even in places that have a union? What's at stake when people get together, organize, put their neck on the lines a little bit, and stand up for their friends, their families, their coworkers, and themselves? So I'm going to pass the microphone off now to my good friend and our Revolution member, a strong union leader, somebody who has inspired me over the last couple of months as we've talked about what we got to do to fight for working class America. So JD Dixon, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching and attending. Tonight, the S7 local international Boilermakers, we voted a strong vote to take action against our company. Our company, Empire Comfort Systems, has been underpaying us by over $10 for too long. We have been underpaid, no fair wages, discriminated against. Work conditions are subpar, and we have been dealing with it for years now. Even with the union, even with a union contract, we are still being treated like second-class citizens. Our company cares nothing about our families. They care nothing about our situation. They care nothing about the pandemic that we're going through right now with COVID. They literally allow their top executive to come and break quarantine by over 7 days, return to work. And after he returned to work, outbreak of COVID happened, where up to 3 people a week were out on COVID, and it went to 5 people a week at the highest. This is after the company top executive broke quarantine and returned to work after 7 days. Empire Comfort Systems uses their work rules, our contract against us, the contract that our past union representatives made. They're using it against us because they intimidated us, they threatened us, and they stopped us from fighting for a strong contract. Our contract does nothing for us because of the intimidation from Empire Comfort Systems. Because of that, we have been in there. We will report incidences and nothing will happen to them, especially for our Black workers. Racial discrimination has been running rapid in Empire for decades. We have protested against the racial discrimination and took a stand against it for all of our Black union workers. And we're taking a stand against all of the harsh treatment and unfair treatment that all of our workers are experiencing and facing. We're fighting for fair wages. We're fighting for proper work conditions. Tonight, we took a stand against that, and we voted to take a stand and fight. We voted and our union said, yes, we're going to fight for fair wages. Yes, we're going to fight for better work conditions. Yes, we're going to fight for the pay that we deserve. We're not going to take being paid $10 under anymore. We're a union, and that's what unions are made for. We're union strong, and we're going to use our union power to get fair pay and get the work conditions that we deserve. That's the fight that this country is in now. This country is fighting for systemic change and reform in the workplace, society, in racism, for social justice and all. This is an era and time of change, and that's exactly what the International Boilermakers S7 local union voted for. We took a stand against Empire today. Us as a union came together and showed what a union was about, what a union is for, and what a union was made for in the 1800s, to fight for our rights, to take a stand. And Empire knows now, and Empire is going to know in the upcoming months that this is a strong union, that the International Boilermakers S7 local in Bellville, Illinois, is a strong union, and we're not just going to take any type of treatment, any type of racial discrimination, any type of low pay, any type of work conditions that is subpar, that puts us in jeopardy, puts our families in jeopardy at all anymore. We're taking a stand against it, and it's time to stop. We're not going to allow it to happen anymore. We're going to use our union power. We're going to use our union strength and solidarity to fight for a strong contract. That's what the PRO Act is for, to fight for a stronger union. That's why we're here. That's why we voted. We are going to be a strong union. We're going to vote for this contract. We're going to open up this contract, negotiate this contract the way a union is supposed to, and we're going to get the fair pay and the work conditions that the International Boilermakers S7 local rightfully deserve and always deserved. Right now, I'm going to pass it on over to the Vice President of our local S7 union, International Boilermakers, Earl Owens, who's going to tell you his story and what has been going on here in Bellville in our company with our union, and let you know that the fight is continuing. The fight goes on locally, nationally, and we're going to continue to fight until we get the fair pay and work conditions that all unions deserve. Earl Owens.
Good evening, everyone. As you said, my name is Earl Owens, and I'm the Vice President of the local S7. I've worked for Empire for going on 7 years now, and I've seen some of the most atrocious behavior in my entire lifetime. I've seen sexual harassment go unanswered. I've seen straight up racial discrimination go unanswered. I've even had one of the foremen imply I should be hanging from the paint line, but nothing happens. Every time I've gone through all the proper channels. I went through the union. I went through HR. I even went to the owner of the company, to no satisfaction. Every time there was always a different narrative to what happened. Oh, she's hard on everybody, or oh, we don't know what she meant when she said that, or oh, she says that's not what she said. Our contract is trash, and it has been for quite some time. I've been here long enough to be a part of 2 different contract negotiations with this place, and there's really nothing in it that really benefits the worker at all. I've argued cases for the people for grievances that clearly violated the contract, and they do nothing. They always deny. We always have to take it to the next step. Once it gets to the final step, it disappears. It's completely wrong. There has to be some law. There has to be some justice. There has to be some order. Power only responds to power, and we are union strong. I'm gonna pass.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Cooper. I'm a former member of this union. I believe I currently am a member of this union. I was wrongfully terminated during the snow that we got in February. I communicated with the company. I used my vacation days, and I was still terminated. I was never once informed that it was not going to be forgiven. In fact, I was led on to believe that it was going to be forgiven, because that Monday, when the snow was coming, they let everybody go home early. They moved my vacation day over. And then whenever my girlfriend got in a car accident on Wednesday, because nobody takes care of our road back there, I live 20 miles south of Bellville, live in Redbud. You can look it up on Fox News. Got about a foot of snow out there on an easement that no one takes care of. She got in a car accident, so I had to stop and I had to help her dig out. And I got fired. My brothers and sisters believe it's wrong. I believe it's wrong. I really appreciate all the attention, all the support that you all and these people have given me. Thank you very much.
Empire Comfort Systems, what Scott just said. Empire Comfort Systems fired 2 union workers. 2 of our union workers during a snowstorm that brought over a foot of snow here to the Bellville area Metro East area. That stopped a significant amount of union workers as well as company workers from coming in those 3 days. Now, what Empire Comfort System did was forgive the company workers that wasn't able to come in. They allowed them to stay off, stay at home with no recourse, repercussions, or anything. But our 2 union workers that literally could not drive through the snow, that literally could not leave their homes, was fired. Over a week later, the company allowed them to work a whole week and then fired them, knowing they were going to fire them. We put grievances in and they ignored them. They sat there, they knew the grievance was in, they ignored them, and they fired them anyway. That's why, as a union, we are coming together and standing strong. That's why we are going to show Empire Comfort System as the International Boilermakers Union S7 local in Bellville that we are union strong and that we are going to fight for our rights. Just like how the PRO Act is, we're finna sit here and we're going to fight tooth and nail until we get fair pay and work rights. I'd like to thank everybody for who attended, everybody for watching, everybody that voted, and the vote went union strong. The vote went that we are going to take a stand against the unfair treatment and take a stand and demand that we get the fair pay that union workers deserve and that we deserve as skilled workers. I appreciate everybody that's watched. I appreciate everybody that came out. Thank you for watching. And please share. Please get the word out there and let everybody know that unions across the nation, we're not taking it. We're not going to take it anymore. We're taking a stand. We're going to fight, and we're going to show what union strength really does.
And before we wrap up, I just want to say, JD, this fight started. This is a fight for social justice, for worker justice, but this fight started with the Black Lives Matter movement, right?
Correct.
Can you just tell us a little bit about how this all happened, how you guys came together, the racist management that you have to deal with every day? Let the nation know what's going on here with this management program.
So, back in January 2020, Empire Comfort Systems has had a history of a racist culture. It's been known, it's not secret. It's been shown through all of the grievances, the complaints, and everything that Black workers have put in, from where we have been spit on, cussed out at, threatened, assaulted, and it is literally swept under the rug. Where on the other side, when it happens to one of our white coworkers, if they are threatened or spit on or cursed out at by a Black coworker, that Black coworker is fired hands down. Our fight started from that. But in January 2020, Empire Comfort Systems released a racist satire calendar that featured a white figure in a forklift with a red MAGA Trump hat on, impaling a all-Black figure. And this happened during January 2020, Trump 2020. This was a subliminal racist satire sign encouraged to not only draw in Trump supporters, but it was a racist, threatening attack against every single Black worker at Empire. And this image was hung all over Empire Comfort Systems to humiliate every last one of us. I took this calendar to the NAACP local East St. Louis president, and he agreed that this calendar was racist, that it was racist satire. Even after the NAACP president came and sat down with Empire, which the owner of Empire only sat down with him for 5 minutes and then ended the interview. And he acted like it didn't happen because he was still trying to sweep it under the rug. Even after all of that, Empire refused to acknowledge or even accept the fact that their Black workers have been getting racially discriminated against, threatened, assaulted, spit on, and they're doing nothing about it even after we report it. So after our voices went unheard, after our voices were silenced, there was only one other thing to do, and that was to protest. That was to let Empire know that we're not going to take it anymore, that Black Lives Matter, and that we're not going to sit there and allow them to treat us any kind of way, second-class citizens or anything, just because we are Black workers. We deserve the same treatment as every other worker, and the history and our grievances that have been dismissed shows that they have been racially discriminated against Black workers for years, for decades. For decades, they have been discriminating against Black workers, and it's no more. Our union is taking a stand for Black Lives Matter. Our union is taking a stand for union workers. Our union is taking a stand for fair pay and fair work conditions. Our union is taking a stand for racial reform, social reform, economic reform in our job, in all jobs across America. We have protested for fair pay, fair work conditions, fair rights, equal rights, and to end racial discrimination in jobs all across America, all across the Metro East, everywhere. That is our fight. That is the fight that we're taking on. That is the fight that we're championing. That's the fight we're going to continue until we win. Until we are able to claim victory, we will organize, we will protest, we will vote, we will use all the power that we have as activists, as union president, as union trustees. Everything that we have, we will use to bring the righteous revolution that we deserve, to bring fair pay, work conditions, and work rights for all of us.